Hey, what up, everybody? This is Juan Rico here. And as you see on my screen, you see Mike. But I was very conflicted about doing this review because some people might know Mike Tyson wasn't really with it, wasn't agreeing to what Hulu was doing about his life story. Well, and as Hulu would say, it's really a dramatization, exaggeration of his life, pulled from the headlines and everything. But Mike said, if you saw and read the articles, basically he, didn't agree on it and sign on it. So, I've been conflicting about to talking about this, to reviewing this, because how Mike Tyson feels, and you want to respect somebody's feelings, especially when something that they didn't agree upon on, or they didn't get any money off for it, or anything for it, or didn't get to speak with them. So I was just really conflicted about it because everybody knows Mike Tyson. Now, I didn't grow up, watching Mike Tyson, but of course, seen a lot of his highlights and everything like that. I never was an avid boxer. I'm a person that's avid with movies and television and biopics and things like that. That really intrigued me, but it was hard to conflict because you don't want to disrespect anybody. You want to respect them, but also you do want to know a lot about the life. Of course, you can Google it, Hulu it. I'm sorry, I apologize. Not Google, Google it, but also YouTube it and things like that. And it was kind of difficult. You really think about what if you should or shouldn't, and if it's there. And it's hard not to look at it because if you know a lot about Mike Tyson, his life was just you know, wild, with, rape allegations and, his tantrums and things that he did, things that he said and all that. He was a very polarizing figure, in the mid 90s and in the late 90s. And it was just wild, and as you see on my screen, I did watch the first episodes that dropped last week because I wanted to see how this person's portraying them and things like that. Because as a person, I do like to do reviews, like to give my honest criticism about movie, televisions, biopics, and anything like that. But I do want to go see. I've been looking and and trying to read and find out what Mike Tyson, how he felt about it, and what he said. And I found a couple. And this, of course, this one, as you see on my screen, is from Deadline. When Mike Tyson takes a jab at Hulu ahead of Mike's series premiere. They stole my life story and didn't pay me. That's what he was saying, and he did put it on Instagram. And as you can see right here, as Mike Tyson took a social media to take a jab at Hulu over Mike. The series about his life. The former boxer is not happy that the streaming service produced a biographical series without his permission or compensation for telling his story. Uh, as he says right here, so don't let Hulu fool you. I don't support their story about my life. It's not 1812, sorry, 1822. It's 2022. Read Tyson's statement on Instagram. They stole my life, a story, and didn't pay me. To Hulu executives, I'm just a, N-word. And they can sell on the auction block. On the social media post, I sent a caption, Hulu is the streaming version of the slave master. They stole my story and didn't pay me. And words like that you do want to take seriously. You do want to take them from the person that been through a lot, that that things happen to him a lot. But also you have the other side that intrigues you. Yes, you can read about his life. Actually, he has a podcast, and also at the time, he did talk about his life and everything, and that is depicted in the first episode of Mike. And Mike, it's starring, a cast, but cast not that too familiar with. So right here, it's starring Trevante Rhodes and Harvey Kittle, and of course other figures. You have Russell Hornsby playing Don King. And when I saw him as Don King, it was okay. But what I want to do is say that Trevante Rhodes did transform a lot into Mike Tyson, with the weight, the gain. Now, I do think that the list, I'm not the list, but well, he's like a list, but his speech impairment a little bit. Um, maybe it's kind of exaggerated just a little bit. But I mean, as we know, as we listen to Mike Tyson, it can be heavy in certain things, or how he speaks, or if he gets too excited, it gets, you can tell it gets even worse. I mean, even growing up, had a speech impediment. If I get too excited, I start to stutter. not able to, pronounce words properly, things like that. So, I mean, I'm familiar with that as well. But other than that, I think it was okay. The first episode dropped, and as you can see on my screen, the first episode's Thief, from says from the perspective of his one-man show, Mike Tyson asks the question, "Who am I?" As he reflects on his childhood in Bronzeville, New York, where he already has 37 arrests on his record by the time he's just 13. Now we do know a lot. Growing up, he didn't have a hard life. Growing up, he did do a lot of things, and now certain things that we do know already that about him being always getting beat up, or also he likes pigeons, as we know in one TV show that Mike did on Cartoon Network during Adult Swim. It was a Mike Tyson show of him. It was almost like an A team type of thing, but did have a pigeon in it, of course. The second episode, as we can see right here, is Monster. Is Cuss Duamont discovers Mike at 13, gives him discipline, extremely honed skills and a ego, transforming Mike into the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, but at what cost? As you can see, the second episode about the his trainer he met. Now, as we do know, the trainer that helped him train, was almost like a father figure to him, because growing up, Mike Tyson didn't have his father in his life, and in the first episode depicts his mother as a harsh woman. Um, of course, in the, she, in the second episode she passes away, but I just want to talk about the first episodes. They're okay. I did watch them because it did intrigue me. I do respect Mike, but it did intrigue me to see what Hulu is trying to do. And, and if they didn't, come talk to him, and that's wrong as well. I did read some other articles that say that they couldn't really talk to him because his life story is already was already written off, or taken, so they couldn't. um so that's what it says. This dramatization, it's a lot of names were changed. That's what it says on there when you first start watching it. And it's okay. It's not perfect. I think Trevante Rhodes did a good job of getting to that body figure, getting to a little mindset, because I read, as he couldn't speak to Mike Tyson, so he had to do a lot of YouTube, a lot of reading, stuff like that. So I think he did an okay job with that. As we watch a lot of is dramatization. As you watch they do it in the third person, as not third person. I'm sorry, I apologize. Where the actor breaks the fourth wall and talks straight to the audience, and the guy Trevante that's playing Mike is telling the story, as in the first episode. Because Mike did the one man show, and he talked about his life, and he did okay with that. It's a lot of gestures that he's doing. I think it's over exaggerated a little bit. There's at one point, as you watch him, he does a lot of things with his hands, and that and put him to the side. And as we know with Mike Tyson, he does talk in a certain way, and as he express himself with his hands. But I think Trevante did a little bit too much with that, and it's very, very distracting when watching it. Again, the way he's speaking, how Mike speaks, I think it's a little bit too heavy, way too heavy at some times. To me, it's not balanced, because you watch a lot of Mike, you can hear it, but it's not as heavy or predominant. It's noticeable, but the way Mike Tyson, it's not too distracting, and the way Javante did, it at times it can become distracting. But like I said, I was conflicted on watching it. I wanted to watch just to see how Hulu's doing it, because I did watch the Lakers show on HBO Max, and that's a really good show. That's really good. Some people did not like it, especially Jerry West and Kareem, and they had their opinions about it. And as they did say, the people that wrote it did say that they took a lot of from the books and things like that, and they put it on there. So I mean, a lot of people are going to get upset on famous people, on how their lives depicted and how it's portrayed, and I understand that. But also, when you become famous, you do become a public figure. Your life is out there. And of course, if you of course you want to make a story of it, you can, but a lot of times people are going to pull the stuff out of the headlines that you have in there, or what you said, or what you did, things like that. So like I said, I'm conflicted as just being a viewer, as myself, wanting to see something. It was kind of difficult. Now, the next two episodes, I don't know if I'm going to watch them. I've been thinking about it, talk to my wife, and because you want to respect people, but you want to see how certain things are portrayed on how Hulu do it to really get a full, you give your full opinion on it. Like the first episode's okay. I think it's, Trevante does okay job, but like I said, I think a lot of times it's over dramatized. Sometimes it can be overdone a little bit. It's how he does it. Now the second episode is more when he starts because as we know, Mike Tyson's in jail, and at the time, looking at him, people thought he was older than what he what he was because at the time he was 13, looking like he was a full grown adult, and that's shocking. That's surprising. And a lot of times also people, certain generations are not going to go and start reading or looking at it. In the way we live in this culture now, it's what pops on the screen and the way they're going to grasp it. And as you can say, that might not be a good thing. People need to go out and do the research and read and do more on people, but a lot of times that's not going to get out there. And also, this can be also a good and bad as well. Good and where it's letting people, Mike Tyson name was in out there in the world, but with this happening, it polarizes even more. As you really think about it, that makes people wondering more, want to see more and more about your life, want to see, so you're kind of getting a little bit of, you know, publicity with it because bad publicity is good publicity because your name is still out there in the zeitgeist in the world. And so I see that as well. I mean, I respect Mike Tyson, I get it, but the first episodes of Mike are okay. Um, I think that it's a little bit too. It can be a little bit too drawing. They're only about 25 minutes, so you can blast these really really quickly. They drop every Thursday on Hulu. Like I said, I respect Mike Tyson. I'm still thinking about if I'm gonna do the next two episodes. The first two episodes were okay, but um they're all right. The actor that plays his um trainer, the Harvey Keitel. You've seen him in a lot of things and other shows like that. And I think he does a good, okay job being his boxer. You can see, as we see, Mike was a troubled person. He did go through a lot. Even though his trainer, took him just to, get back to his glory days of as a trainer. As he did try to help Mike Tyson, and you say to yourself, you never know what's going to happen if certain things change in life. So you see that as well. But Mike on Hulu, it's okay. It's a dramatization. Like I said, names are changed. A lot of things are not as they seem. A lot of things are, switched up. So like I said, if you want to get more into more Mike Tyson, you can read Wiki, listen to his podcast, things like that. For me, I was someone to watch something over the weekend, wanted to watch something that came out, and Mike, of course, came up. So I might, like I said, still conflicting. I still think about if I'm going to continue it. Like I said, the first episode is okay. I feel like it it goes right into there. But I also know there's some things that are left out that I do know what might that I that I read things like that about his life or what happened to him personally, physically, things like that. And some things they kept that out and it seemed like they're leading towards a lot of stuff that as we can see on the screen, his marriage, things he went through, things like that. So of course they're gonna leave a lot of things out and they're gonna put a little the big dramas in there. I do hope Mike does drop a movie or a bio or something like that about his life. Um, it's been going for years that Jimmy Fox was supposed to play Mike, but it's been so long, and I don't know if that's going to happen. So like I said, if you want to watch it, that this is America. We can do, we have the right if you want to watch it or not. If you watch it, watch it and see what you think of it. And if you want to blast it, blast it. When you blast Hulu, that's it. Some people are boycotting, not watching, and I understand that. Um, like I said, I'm conflicted. I might think about it. I might still watch it because I like to give my opinion. I like to talk about it and to see if it's something that should be watched, or even get a chance to watch it, because Hulu is dropping a whole lot of shows more and more often. There's a new Steve Carell series that's out, they call The Patient, that I probably start watching tonight to talk about as well. So if you've seen the Mike first two episodes, and please drop a comment, leave at the bottom, and if you and tell me if you're going to continue watching it, or are you conflicted? You shouldn't want. Are you not going to watch it? Please give me your opinion, and opinion as long as it's respectful. Leave a comment below. Tell me how you feel about it. Are you with Mike? Are you watching? Are you not watching? Are you boycotting it? Because I do want to have everybody's opinion. I'll leave a comment below. But if I do watch it, I might, but it depends. But other than that, until next time, guys, make sure you subscribe, like, share, and comment. And peace.